Hey everyone, welcome back to Off Script. I'm Riley.
And I'm Taylor. And wow, okay, today we are diving deep into a film that really got people talking. Ryan Coogler's Sinners.
Seriously, the buzz on this one was huge.
Right, so picture this. Southern Gothic period drama, 1932 Mississippi. You've got Delta blues, hoodoo, real heavy historical context, and then Confederate Klansmen vampires.
Yeah, just casually throws that in. It's a lot.
Absolutely. And it landed with a bang, didn't it? Polarizing for some, maybe, but critically, huge acclaim, like 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, 84 on Metacritic. That's serious praise.
And audiences seem to love it too. An A's Cinema score, 92% post-track. People were definitely connecting with it.
And the box office. For an original R-rated horror film to pull in over $350 million worldwide and have legs like that, it's pretty rare these days. It definitely defied expectations.
It really did.
Yeah. But hey, before we jump in, you know the drill. If you like what we do, hit that like button, definitely subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive.
Yeah, helps us out a ton.
Okay, sinners, let's start with the opening. Bam. 1932 Mississippi, young Sammy, bloodied guitar, running into a church. It grabs you immediately.
Sure, totally disorienting. You're just dropped right in, like, mid-trauma, and it immediately links music, violence, and this sacred space. Sets the tone instantly. Dread, mystery.
Exactly. What just happened? That's the first thing you're asking. Then boom, rewind 24 hours. Clarksdale, Mississippi, 1932.
And the setting itself, Jim Crow South, clear, that's already a horror story before any vampires show up.
Definitely. We meet the leads, twin brothers, Smoke and Stack, both played by Michael B. Jordan, back home with, let's say, acquired money, dreaming of opening a juke joint. But like that New Yorker review pointed out, the film doesn't shy away from the real-world horror, this Jim Crow Mississippi. That danger is there before anything supernatural even appears.
Right.
And Jordan's performance, or performances, I guess, is something else. Sources say he built completely different physicalities for them. Smoke's more inward, Stack more expressive, maybe, both carrying that trauma.
Yeah, he apparently based them on his uncles,
Right.
which adds this whole personal layer. And it kind of sets up ideas about, like, fractured identity, maybe, different ways to cope.
Yeah.
And then Coogler builds this amazing community around the juke joint.
Such a great ensemble. You've got their cousin Sammy, the guitar prodigy, and that story about how they found Miles Caton, who plays him, just playing guitar somewhere.
Feels like fate, right? Perfectly fits the theme of music's power.
Totally. Then Delta Slim on piano. And Annie, Wunmi Mosaku, Smoke's estranged partner, practicing hoodoo.
And the sources give us so much insight there. Mosaku talking about working with a consultant, how Annie's lines are essentially spells.
Yeah, it frames hoodoo not as some exotic detail, but as a real active force, the community's spiritual defense system, basically.
Which makes Smoke rejecting it because of their daughter's death feel even more tragic, like he's cutting himself off from that strength.
And you have Grace and Bocha, the suppliers, Cornbread, the bouncer.
Yeah.
It's this whole tapestry of a marginalized community finding life in music.
Right.
Okay, so into this world steps the villain, Remick, Jack O'Connell. And Remick is not your standard Dracula type.
Right. There's that detail about him being Irish, fleeing Choctaw vampire hunter, super specific. But his role feels more like a predator of culture, like a shady music exec almost.
Yeah, O'Connell said he played him like an addict addicted to control, to feeding off someone else's talent.
And that's the core metaphor, isn't it? He doesn't just drink blood, he steals sound, style, soul. It's a direct commentary on how black art has been co-opted historically.
That line, immortality's easy, originality, that's extinct. Oof. Tells you everything right there.
Exactly. And layered on top of this, there's the economic reality. The twins realize their juke joint can't really succeed because everyone's trapped by company script, systemic oppression blocking even that small dream.
Which pushes Stack and his girlfriend Mary Haley Steinfeld towards Remick. And Mary's story deals with passing, hiding her black ancestry.
Yeah, a real historical thing. Her whole arc, getting involved with Remick, turning, it's framed as this tragic commentary on how racism forces impossible choices and fractures identity. She only gets accepted when she becomes monstrous.
So Stack gets bitten, dies, comes back wrong, and Annie has to fight him off with pickled garlic juice.
Right. It's such a specific kind of folksy detail. Love it. And then we get the rules. These vampires keep bits of personality but share Remick's memories. Hive mind.
And then the move that sources call the master stroke. Remick turns a couple of Klansmen.
Yep. White supremacists as literal vampires. It's blunt, but wow does it land. It makes the idea of racism as this parasitic force that feeds on black communities incredibly literal and visceral.
So Remick corners Sammy, wants his musical gift, wants to use black art to fuel his own power, offers him immortality, freedom.
The same false promises oppressive systems always offer, right?
Yeah.
Escape, but at the cost of your soul. And meanwhile, the clan is planning an attack at dawn. So you've got the clan outside, vampires inside.
It forces you to weigh those threats. Which is worse, the obvious hate or the insidious cultural theft?
Great question. The climax is just brutal. Grace tries to fight the vampires on her terms, lets them in, tragedy ensues. She kills Bo, then dies. Annie gets bitten by Stack.
And Smoke has to mercy kill her. Heartbreaking stuff. Seriously rough.
But Sammy fights back, uses the silver resonator on his guitar. Music becomes the weapon.
It's like an exorcism through blues. Then sunrise, vampires burn.
Cleansing light.
A symbolic end to that night. But not the end of the story.
Right, the epilogue. Jumps forward 60 years.
We find an older Sammy. He's running his own blues club. Successful.
Nice. But then he encounters
Immortal Stack and Mary. Still together. Still vampires.
Chilling. And their conversation. Stack reveals Smoke spared him.
On the condition Sammy lived his life peacefully. A brother's sacrifice.
Wow. And Sammy calling that nightmare night the greatest day of his life, despite being haunted.
It's heavy, right? Speaks volumes about what they fought for, the cost.
And Stack agreeing. Because it was the last time he felt free, saw smoke, saw the sun.
Yeah. It just encapsulates that whole complex idea about survival, freedom, and the price.
That ending really pulls all the threads together. The cultural exploitation, obviously.
Yeah, and that tension between faith and art. The church versus the juke joint. Blues is the devil's music. Classic theme, new twist.
Okay, so big picture impressions. We kind of touched on it, but the ambition here is undeniable, right? Kugler's blending Southern Gothic, horror, blues, musical, historical drama.
It's a wild mix. And using horror to talk about stolen genius, cultural appropriation, generational trauma, that's the core, isn't it? Remick as this embodiment of exploitation.
Absolutely. And the way it grounds the supernatural in the real horror of Jim Crow, Mississippi. That's what makes it resonate, I think. It's not just fantasy, it feels rooted.
Okay, let's talk craft. Kugler and his cinematographer, Autumn Durald Arkapaw. Visually, this film is gorgeous.
Oh, stunning. That lighting in the juke joint like a church in hell.
And the use of color, the reds and blues clashing, it reinforces that duality, passion and pain, fire and blood.
What about that technical trick? Shooting performances at 48, but showing them at 24.
Right. It creates this subtle ghosting effect. Makes the performers seem kind of spectral, haunted. It's unsettling.
Right.
Okay, ratings time. Based on the research, the reactions, our own watch. Where do you land?
I started around a 7.5, honestly. Like some critics noted, I felt the pacing stagged a bit in the middle. Maybe some subplots weren't quite as strong, but the highs are so high. The ambition, Jordan's work, that ending, it lingers. Considering all that, I'm bumping it to an 8.
See, I'm holding strong at a 9 out of 10. I just found it so audacious, so unique. Jordan's performance, career best, easily. The symbolism, the sound design, haunting. And yeah, that ending got me. The Smoke Annie scene. Okay, I admit my notes say I cried.
Whoa.
It's undeniably powerful and stays with you. A near masterpiece feels about right. It pushes boundaries.
Sure. It's a film that really pushes you to think about how these big systemic issues, historical traumas, can become literal monsters in our stories, in our lives.
And it asks, if fighting those monsters costs so much, what's the value of the survival, the freedom you gain? How do you carry that weight forward, like Sammy? Or exist with the scars, like Stack?
My final thought, circling back to that ending in the analysis, is Stack's immortality a curse? Or is there some weird, lonely freedom in carrying all that past outside of time?
Oof. Heavy?
It is. But that's Sinners, doesn't pull punches.
True.
Well, that was our deep dive into Sinners. Hope it gave you some fresh perspectives.
Let us know your theories and takes in the comments. We love hearing from you.
And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Off Script for more deep dives. Ring that bell.
Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll catch you on the next one.